When I was asked to talk about stewardship, three things came to my mind. First is that in the book of Genesis, God talks about this. God creates the earth and then creates humans to take care of or steward it. The second thing is that we have an incredible staff of people in this church who hold this place together and make things happen each and every day. We also have property and buildings, and all three of these require our financial resources to keep them going. The third thing that comes to my mind is tithing. And the reason tithing comes to mind is because 25 years ago, God took me, as well as Jane and our family, on a 7-year journey through the desert. That's when I lost my job. Jane was only working part-time, and we had three daughters, the oldest of whom was headed off to college, with the other two following in the next 4 years. At the beginning of that 7 years, I began doing daily devotions for spiritual support. Then one day, in year 2, I was shown the words in the last book of the Old Testament, Malachi 3, starting with verse 8. In these next several verses, God talks about tithing and how it is okay to test him on this and see if he doesn't open the floodgates of heaven and pour out such blessings that we won't have room for them all. As I read this, I felt I was being called to do just that, to test God by tithing and see what would happen. So that's what we did. We donated 10% of the gross of my unemployment checks, and we gave 10% of the gross that Jane made in her part-time job. Now, you might think this was about as irrational a decision as we could have made in our particular circumstance. But let me tell you how that all worked out for us. We never missed a pledge that we made to the church. We were never late on any bill that we had. Over that 7 years, all three of our girls went to private universities, and we made every tuition and room and board payment for all three of them. So, for the last 24 years, we have tithed when it came time for the annual stewardship campaign here. To this day, we have never missed paying our pledge, and we've never been late on paying any of our bills. So our family has experienced firsthand what God said in Malachi 3, verse 10. Test me and see if I won't throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that you will not have room enough for it. As our church moves into the stewardship campaign for next year, I'd like to encourage each of you to test God like we did 24 years ago. It will blow your mind each time you write that check to the church and see how God will provide for all your other needs. Our grateful response to God has been to tithe. I hope yours will be as well.